Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, pontiac s10 Shopping Garage. Okay, today we're going to set up the power steering return line and high pressure line. I'm setting up my own setup because I found out some disturbing information to me, and what I didn't know and could happen didn't happen, other than springing a leak on a high pressure line. That power steering fluid on average can actually catch fire. It's acidic. If it hits a surface that's 500 to 1200 degrees, it can catch on fire. Be careful. I didn't know this till now. Research and development, and I've learned something on this. Excuse me. And I will take you out to the car and show you what I'm talking about, and here in the shop, that the way they railed the lines on my 08 G6 Pontiac, that the high pressure line and return line runs between the frame and the backside catalytic converter. Now, give me just a second. This is, the best that I know of, like a high temp non-burnable sleeve for the high pressure line. I think it's asbestos type, because asbestos doesn't burn. But look here. Look at that big rip, tear, wear hole in this sleeve. This is between the frame and the catalytic converter. This was facing the catalytic converter. Luckily, the section of the hose wasn't leaking here. It had been squirting right up at the catalytic converter. 500 to 1200 degrees temp can ignite that. Now, the other hose, the return, which is low pressure, is in good shape. But I'm not going to reuse these. Why? I'm rerouting the power steering lines. And we'll get to that here in just a little bit. So we're going to go out to the car and I'm going to show you where this is at. But before we go, sorry about that. This is what's left. I took apart the high pressure line. And where it was leaking, luckily, was in the section before going to or after the catalytic converter. This was the one under the catalytic converter above the frame. Lucky me. So I'm doing away with this. Went to the auto store and bought high pressure transmission line. And it's a bit difficult to read, but this is a section of it. And as you can see, it's dimpled, if I'm not mistaken. The reinforcement cord in there is Kevlar, if I'm not mistaken. But this is specifically for power steering. Now, before I show you any more of in here on what we're going to do, setting up the lines, excuse me, we're going out to the car. So bear with me. Okay, here we are out the car, as you can tell. Okay, now what you can see of it, back there, down there, is the catalytic converter to the back side of my 3.5. The hoses was running between the rack and pinion and this catalytic converter, but the leak was right about where the point is at the hose in this area right here. Lucky me once again. So I'm going to reroute them from the tank over this way towards the overflow tank down to the pinion of the rack and pinion. And the high pressure, which hooks up down here where my index finger is at, with the factory or OEM line to here and run on over there, this direction, and behind the AC line, so I don't have to worry about the catalytic converter anymore. About that. If I know this a long time ago, I'd have rerouted them, made my own lines. But you live and learn. Research and development. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And take a mirror down into here. Give me a second. And take a look to make sure when you pull the high pressure line out. Let me get positioned here. And hopefully you can see this. To where you don't see the O-ring seal up in there, because they do like to come off at times, and you got to pick it out or take this pump off to get it out. So just check to make sure. And let's get back in here and put this back together. Here's my spare power steering pump. It'll focus, make it a little more light here. The seal fits down in there, and technically, actually, let me get this here, line, the OEM line. And there's the O-ring. I got this out of an O-ring kit. If by the lines, I'm going to make my own. Just a simple little slip fit, but this is basically how that goes. It's not a compression or compression fitting setup. And that little bit of a lip with a line on it is where the seal fits. You have to have that seal. Sometimes you take these off, that seal wants to come off. And it likes to stick in there. So just be careful. Okay. Now, for the seal kit, that's the seal you need. Roger Oliver 6 or RO6. Once I get this back together, I will keep you updated on how this turns out. I hope I don't have to go back with the OEM lines. But you will know as soon as I do. Okay. Now, the OEM metal tubing from the power steering I'm reusing to a degree. This one I am. The other one I'm not, because it goes to the flush system I put on to the car. Okay, now this is the outgoing or incoming pressure 45-degree elbow. I put a new cup seal on it. I'm going to show you how to put the other one on. And the factory clamp, which I had to cut to get the hoses apart. Carbon steel, it was a bear to cut. Took all this off and apart. All this is junk. And the cup seal, hold on a second. This is the cup seal information you need. This is O'Reilly's. Now, it may be cross-referenced to other auto stores, your choice of auto stores, to another one to get it. I don't know. But that's where I buy most of my parts. And this is where I bought it from. And that's the number you need. Now I'm going to show you how to put this cup seal on the way I did it. Okay, that's done. And let's see. Okay. Here's one of the lines. This is the high pressure line. that I've already cut and fit. And actually, give me a second here. This might be the only one I can show you at. By the looks of it, it is. Now, here we go. With the high pressure tubing from the pump to the rack and pinion, this goes to the pump. This goes to the hose to the rack and pinion. As you put your hose when I was cutting the clamp off, I might have went too deep when I cut the hose off, or the clamp, and I think I went into the line. It doesn't look it, but I'm not going to risk it. But to get this to stay on there, and with the pressure, from what I've researched it, that there's up to 1,200 pound PSI. So, the hose on, and give me a second. I don't use any oil onto this. It's just a push fit. And it is a bear. And actually, so you know how far to put the hose on, I've drawn what you can see of it, an indication line how far to put the hose on, to put clamp in here, or here, and here. Get the AC going and get this down here. Maybe you can see some of this if I'm not in the way. There's my line. Let me get this on there. It almost feels like I don't need a clamp on it, but there's one going to be put on it. Okay. You probably get to see that. But here's the indentation here from this point to that point. I'll put the clamp here instead, or technically one here, one there, and probably one out here being high pressure. I'll put 3 on. And to get an idea, this clamps on or bolts onto the rack and pinion. I need to turn this a bit. Now let's see what we have here. Down there. You have to somewhat guesstimate. This bolt's in this position, and you would follow that line on down over to where it goes, and you pretty much got it set up like so to the rack and pinion. Unfortunately, I can't. Well, maybe I can. This way that would fit on. And to there. That's about the configuration it'll be. Okay, now then for the clamp. All right. I've done a prior video or two with a clamp tight, and that's what I'm using for some of these clamps. And the clamp tight, you use this setup, you want to go with the heaviest gauge wire. Okay. And as you're doing this, I'm going to do a 3 clamp setup. Clamp it down as tight as you believe it needs to be, and she doesn't turn, we're good to go. I've always had good results out of the clamp tight. I've yet to break one of these locking clamps. Okay, almost got it. Second clamp on. These here nit picks is, well, I call them nit, yep, they are nit picks. I use these to help contour the wire to the hose that fits and get the ends tucked down in there. So don't come loose, it's locked, and we're all good. Be right back. Okay, 3 wire clamps on, and this is the equivalent to the factory carbon clamp, which you'll be fitting like so. Now, look how nice and neat that is. And it won't turn, and it's not going to budge. But leak proof, that'll be in the proof of it when I put this back together and see what happens. Check for leaks as always. Once again, as you use any clamps, twist the hose if it's still loose, not tight enough, wrong clamp, whatever you need to do to where it's locked, you got it. And in case you didn't notice, I double wrapped this one. Single wrap there. Single, single, double. That's just me. 3 singles probably will work, but I prefer a double at the beginning of each, depending on what we're doing, whether I go double or not, or more. Oh, and your power steering pump fitting nut is a 5/8. Okay, you can use that wrench once you get it broke loose with a brake line wrench of a 5/8. It's tight down in there, so just finagle a little finesse and you can get it. Now I'm going to show you how to put the cup fitting on, or cup seal, sorry about that. So let's get to it. Just snug it in the vise, you don't want to crimp the hose. And there's the cup seal. Just a smaller version of the transmission pressure fitting part here into the transmission itself. Just a smaller version of it. Now, okay. Let me get positioned here. And of a Q-tip. Trans fluid, oil on a Q-tip. Move it real good. Put it inside on the seal. Good to go. Fit it. Push it down as far as you can, and it'll stop. And now, if I have it here, which I hope I do, which I don't think that I do, I don't see it. Give me a second. I go get my socket. Something else you have to be watching is when you buy the new cup seals, or you get it in the kit, or with the hose. Make sure you don't see any metal showing. That means the sealant is not properly done some way or another. Make sure it's all looking the same. It's all covered in the rubber. No metal showing, or I don't buy it. Now, with an 11 millimeter, and let me get a hammer here. It just fits that cup seal. I just go to tap it down. Keep looking, checking, and it's a press fit. We're getting there. And almost. There it is. There's a little ball peen hammer and a 11 mil deep well. Check for any damage. Hopefully it shouldn't be. And there you are. It's not quite all the way down, as you can see, light where it shouldn't be. A little bit more tapping, a little more press fit. And we got it. And we've got it. That little bit of light there. Wait a minute. I wonder. Yep, a little bit more. You gotta have this going on straight. Now let's see what we have. Now we have it. There we go. Whoops. Get the focus here a bit. I can't get any straighter without damaging it. I don't want to damage it. I gotta. These are about $9 a piece. So far, so good. I can't get it to go down any further. I'll probably damage it if I do. So Once you get the bolt in and tighten this whole system up, set up here, up, and the other one just fits in the slot here, the groove, tighten it up and check the leaks. This is the tedious part, is taking this off or putting this back on. So on that note, thanks for tuning in, checking, seeing what's going on for today. Hope this helps. And a shortcut, we're just over 25 minutes into this, and you can take a shortcut. You know what to get and to do it if you decide to do it. I chose to do this, and it all should work. I will let you know how this turns out for me, and we go from there. Okay? Oh, one more thing. Where the OEM pressure line goes into this is a 5/8. Brake line wrench, then you're open in and get your fingers down in there, undo it. It's tight, you can get it. Don't forget to check the seal. So on that note, everyone, keep the wrenches turning, easy on the knuckles. Peace out. Have a great one, y'all. And as soon as it cools off and the weeds start dying down, I'll get another and probably, hopefully, final video of the junkyard I've been doing the videos on. Hope someone finds what they're looking for or a project to do from there, and best of luck. Keep me updated. Thanks, everyone. Bye.